up, guys? Welcome back for another beer review. Today we're getting back into the pumpkin beers as I'm trying to spread out the pumpkin beers and the Oktoberfest beers, so some more Oktoberfest beers can come out in the next couple weeks. But right now we're getting into Dogfish Head's Punkin Ale. It's kind of a classic pumpkin beer. Dogfish Head's been around a while, and it's one of those things I'm pretty sure I've probably had before, but also I don't know how much they change it every year, and it's been a while, and it's like, I think I've had that before, but then you just start thinking, you're like, but I don't remember when. Maybe it was a different pumpkin beer. I don't know. But let's give this sucker a whirl and see if it is any good. Just pulling that bad boy in, and let's see if there's any information on it. This is a 7% ABV beer. It is a brown ale brewed with pumpkin and spices. 7%. That's, not too shabby. So, and here's the label, in case you're wondering. This is the Punkin Ale 2021 version. So anyways, let's get into the review. Get into the smell. It smells like it's going to have like a clean finish. You can pick up some subtle caramel, raisiny maltiness. Almost there's almost like a salted toffee kind of thing in there. There's a bit of a salty element. You pick up the pumpkin, but it has more of, I think it's more of like a pumpkin pie kind of spice aroma to it versus maybe, like a pumpkin latte. The pumpkin pie is, I feel like it's a little different. And that's kind of the aroma I'm picking up. And then just kind of just your nutty, general nutty brown ale kind of notes. But nothing is overwhelming. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to crack open a beer and just see boom, pumpkin, this could be good. There is, hints of pumpkin, but it's not overwhelming. It's almost just kind of like one of the players on the team. It's not just the dominant thing. So I think it smells pretty legit. I like it. I'm gonna recommend it on smell. Let's get into the taste. There's a nutty maltiness to it. It hits on the tip of your tongue. You get a bit of that charred kind of toast taste to it. It's not super intense, but you get a bit of that charred right in the tip of your tongue. There are hints of the pumpkin pie taste to it, but again, very, very subtle. It's very subdued. You're going to notice it, but it's not overwhelming and it doesn't dominate the drink. It very much is kind of your brown ale with maybe a little more maltiness to it, and then a dash of pumpkin. And now I'm really picking up more malt taste with every sip. I kind of it's starting to work back on my tongue, and there's not as much of that kind of sweet or saltiness that was picking up in the aroma. And honestly, the more I'm drinking it, the malt, that kind of charred, smoky malt aspect to it, that's really starting to take over the taste. Like, the more I drink of this, the less pumpkin I'm getting. You knew it was going to be a pumpkin beer, so you're kind of looking for that in the initial sip, and so I picked that up. But now the maltiness is really taking over, and I'm getting less and less pumpkin. It might be because just my tongue is starting to absorb more of more taste buds are starting to pick up the maltiness, and the pumpkin just doesn't kind of light up as many taste buds, so it just kind of falls away. So I don't know. Like, if I'm getting something that has pumpkin in the beer, I personally want it a little more forward. Like, I want to be able to pick it up and taste it. I want it to be in every sip, because that's kind of why I'm getting the pumpkin beer. Otherwise, it's just call it brown ale, and then be like, on the back, yeah, we put some pumpkin, whatever. So because it's called a pumpkin ale, I want the pumpkin to be a little more, it doesn't have to be dominant, but I want a little bit more of that taste profile. And just the maltiness that's being used just kind of chops that off at the knees. It's a solid beer, but since it's a pumpkin beer, I want more pumpkin in it. So I'm going to give it a half for that. Again, you might dig it. If you're not a pumpkin beer fan, and it's like, I'll get something for the Halloween or whatever, this might be solid for you. But for what I'm looking for, I'm going to give it a half. Next category is value for price, and I use Dogfish Head, and now that they've merged or whatever you want to call it with Sam Adams, distribution is pretty much everywhere, even though pretty much for the most part it was basically everywhere anyways. But I think this helped lower the price a little bit. I feel like a lot of the beers I've had from Dogfish Head of late might be just a hair less expensive than what I remember it being. And I mean, this I got for $2 or $2.29. That's a solid price. So I think value for price, it's worth what you're gonna pay for it. So I will recommend it for value for price. Next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And it doesn't really set itself apart from any other pumpkin beers. I'm not going to go as far as to say that it's like a throwaway pumpkin beer, because you do get a lot of those where it's just like, ugh. But it's almost playing it too safe for me. It is just kind of like, here's a brown ale, a malty brown ale, dash of pumpkin. Like, I want the name of the beer to be more pronounced in the beer. It's like, that's why I'm buying the beer. It's pumpkin's right there. I mean, the freaking label is a giant pumpkin head. I want to be able to taste more of that pumpkin. And so I wish that was a little more forward. And so it's just subdued, and it very much becomes kind of like an average run-of-the-mill pumpkin beer. So for me, for what I'm looking for something that's advertised as pumpkin beer, I want more of it. And so it really kind of just, it's fine, but it's not really distinct in any way. Like, if I had this again, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that is a Dogfish Head pumpkin ale. I'm not gonna pick that out. So really, I mean, for distinction, I'm not gonna recommend it for distinction. It's really it's kind of your basic pumpkin beer with subdued pumpkin notes. Next category is drinkability. And honestly, it's a pretty easy to drink beer. It's 7%, so it's got a little heft to it. And if you just enjoy a malty beer that doesn't have hoppiness to it, the hoppiness level, I don't think it says on this thing, but the hoppiness level is not high. So if you just want a malty beer that has kind of that smoky, charred taste to it, with that kind of malt, if that's the kind of beer you like, absolutely. Pick this up. You're gonna like it. 7%, so it's got a decent alcohol content for what you're drinking, and I think it's totally legit. So drinkability, I am gonna recommend on drinkability. It's a solid, easy to drink beer. Last category is would I buy it again? And honestly, pumpkin beers. The pumpkin beers last a little longer than your Oktoberfest beers. I think pumpkins again start to come out in August, and you can get them really until the end of November. So they're kind of around for a month longer than the Oktoberfest beer. But even during that, for most of that time, I drink Oktoberfest beers, and so I have a very limited window of pumpkin beers. Of time for pumpkin beers before it's time to switch to the, autumn and the winter seasonals and all that stuff. So I need to find a pumpkin beer that I like, and I don't have time for anything else. So this is an okay beer, but I have no intention of buying it again. I don't need to, even though probably in another year or two I'm going to stumble upon it and be like, oh, I'll do another pumpkin beer review, and it's Dogfish Head. But outside of buying it for another review, I don't really need it. So, anyways, that is my review of Dogfish Head Punkin Ale. What do you think? Have you had this one before? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And again, sorry for the setup and all the video quality and all that stuff. Once I'm in the more permanent location, I'll be able to get everything rigged up better. So anyways, for myself and for Dogfish Head Punkin Ale, take it easy.